What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Wednesday. Glad to be back here in the saddle as the Titans open up training camp practice today for the first time in the 2023 season. I'm Austin Stanley, Jack Gentry with me here on this Wednesday morning. Going to react to all the press conferences from yesterday as Mike Vrabel and DeAndre Hopkins, new Titans wide receiver, met with the media for the first time in his Titans career. So we're going to play several bits of audio from DeAndre Hopkins as the Titans are on the practice field later on this morning. I'll be over there after the show. Sam Phelan already heading over there today, right now, because Rand Carthon and Chad Brinker and other Titans front office executives meeting with the media right before practice today. And we get the sprint going because it starts today, Jack. July 26th, we're off and running, and it doesn't end until Valentine's Day. So it's football season officially, kind of practice season, but hey, I'm glad to have it, and I'm glad to be back after a couple days off. And Jack, glad to have you on here talking about DeAndre Hopkins, new Titans wideout, and all the things he has to say about why he chose Nashville, what he saw about this Titans offense, and then his belief and confidence in Ryan Tannehill that we'll all talk about. 17-10. How many times will we see that connection this upcoming season? Jack, it's also Wednesday, which means we throw shade at the end of the show. I know you are locked and loaded with your shade that I know Titans fans will be excited about. So, Jack, welcome in. Thanks for jumping on here.
Hey, it's a good day to be on. Training camp gets going today. We heard from D-Hop yesterday and Vrabel. It's an exciting time for football fans in general just to have this back. And, I don't know that it's really – I don't know that training camp is really here until I see Treylon Burks go off camp and everybody freaks out. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully no injuries. Hopefully the Titans stay clean. We're going to talk a lot about D-Hop today, though, so we want you all to share this conversation, grow it as much as we can on this Wednesday morning. If you're watching on Facebook, share it to your Titans groups. Let's get everybody in here. If you're watching on Twitch, copy that link, text it to your Titans text groups. I know all of y'all have group messages with crazy Titans fans that have a take on all of this as well. If you're watching on YouTube, tap that bell icon at the top of your screen so you get a notification every time A to Z Sports goes live. It's a good Wednesday to be a Titans fan. It's a good week to be a Titans fan. Coming off a great weekend to be a Titans fan. So, Austin, let's get this thing going.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Jack Gentry here on the Tighten Up Podcast. New episode out today on the A to Z Sports Podcast Network because that happens every Wednesday, the Tighten Up Podcast. So you can go check that out in your podcast feeds. Also, we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and also hit us up on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and Threads. There's too many social medias these days. Can't get them all, but yeah, Threads as well, as we get going every weekday morning at 8 Central. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you. Like Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, rates, and service at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping you safe online. So do that with our link for a 2-week free trial. That's aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer in Middle Tennessee with 3 locations at Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro, online at KrebsKubota.com. Jack, I knew you looked different, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was. But the chat quickly reminded me, no mustache for you right now, which and very clean shaven, which I don't know if I've ever seen you clean shaven, or it's been a long time since I've seen you clean shaven. But yeah, no stash on training camp day. I guess the playoff beard starts now. Is that it?
Exactly. Yeah, it was a D-Hop beard. As long as D-Hop was a free agent, I wasn't going to let it go. But now that he's signed, sealed, and delivered, it was time to start a new era. It's a new Titans era over there. So figured I'd get with the times and switch things up while training camp's around.
There you go. All right. So DeAndre Hopkins talked to the Titans media for the first time as a member of the Tennessee Titans. And we've got a lot of audio and video we're going to get to of DeAndre Hopkins and him quieting the haters across multiple fronts. But first, DeAndre Hopkins asked why he ended up choosing the Titans
and how much Mike Vrabel had to do with it.
The pick for you, DeAndre. What were the most important things in your decision to come here?
Competitive roster that Vrabel and Rand have built. I want to be able to compete. Obviously, it starts with the division, and then after that, the rest speaks for itself.
You'd mentioned the relationship that Vrabel's kind of maintained over the years. How much does that mean? I mean, you've been in Houston, he comes here, you go to Arizona. When you have that kind of connection with a coach, how much can that maybe help with just the familiarity when you're changing situations?
Oh, that helps a lot, especially someone in my situation going in year 11. I wanted to be somewhere around people that I'm comfortable with. Vrabel and I, we've always kept communication over the years. When I first got to Arizona, he was one of the first coaches to congratulate me and was one of the first coaches to criticize a bad game that I had as well. That wasn't my coach, and that's what I respect about Vrabel.
So, he texted you to tell you about that game?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What the criticism was?
He asked me why I didn't catch a ball that I should have caught.
Was that your first reaction? You appreciated it, or did it take a while to?
No, I appreciate that right away because that's how he was in Houston with me.
At 31 years old, what is it about your game that you feel will allow you to continue to play at a high level?
My IQ, the way I play the game, the pace I play the game, obviously. The way I started last season as well, my first couple games in Arizona.
So there's DeAndre Hopkins and Jack. There's two things from that video. One, what a Vrabel move to just text DeAndre Hopkins from like multiple time zones over and say, what happened? You should have caught that ball on third down. What happened, D-Hop? And then also the second thing I took away, DeAndre Hopkins media one-on-one. DeAndre Hopkins will answer a yes or no question with yes or no and leave it at that. So media members, be on your toes when you're asking DeAndre Hopkins questions because he's going to give you what you give him. So you better be on point with how you phrase and how you ask those questions. But I mean, Jack, your reaction to DeAndre Hopkins on why he chose the Titans and how much Vrabel had to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that connection with Vrabel and D-Hop was still pretty strong, even though those two had spent a few years apart. I think that's really cool. Vrabel also has an edge on a lot of other coaches in the NFL in that he can directly relate to a lot of these players. He played recently, and some of the younger coaches in the NFL didn't crack, like Mike McDaniel, Sean McVay. Some of those dudes they didn't have NFL experience, where Vrabel has the edge. And I think veterans are attracted to that, knowing that he's going to take care of them. He's not going to push them to their breaking point. He's going to push them, but he's going to be mindful when he does that. So Vrabel obviously had a huge impact there. I thought it was really interesting what D-Hop said about watching the Titans, because Derrick Henry is one of his best friends, and he said, he tries to watch him as much as possible just to check in on Derrick Henry and Vrabel and the boys. And when he said that he was impressed with what the Titans had done while Josh Dobbs was under center for them in the last 2 weeks, that struck a chord with me, because the Titans had every reason to lay down in that Week 18 game on the road against Jacksonville, had 6 straight losses coming in, a quarterback that's been there for 2 weeks, and they fight like hell and are winning in the fourth quarter. And who knows what would have happened if, that officiating crew spent a little more time under the hood on that fumble. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was a perfect example of the culture that Vrabel's instilled with this Titans group. And it shows, and it obviously made an impression with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think a lot of the things that we talked about throughout this entire process, because DeAndre Hopkins also said that he didn't think he took that long to make his decision, but and that was funny moment there towards the end. But I did like the fact that that DeAndre Hopkins kind of confirmed a lot of things that we all thought and talked about, because Matt just brings up this. I don't know if this is correct, but Matt says, remember when Zach said that D-Hop Vrabel relationship was a no deal? I don't know if Zach thought it was a no deal. Maybe he was downplaying the seriousness of it, but clearly the relationships that DeAndre Hopkins has inside that building had a lot to do with this, and familiarity with it. And it was deeper than I even realized, because I had kind of forgotten and overlooked a little bit. We all knew that the Mike Vrabel, Tim Kelly, Derrick Henry triumvirate of relationships that DeAndre Hopkins had, But I forgot Charles London, who's now the passing game coordinator for the Titans, was also in that Houston Texans organization at the time. Then you have Pat O'Hara. Even if you flip it over the defensive side of the football, Shane Bowen was in that facility as well. So, and DeAndre Hopkins said, yeah, everybody that I had relationships with that are here in this building, that's a big deal there. So I think it runs deep. And, when you're in year 11 and you're talking about, going to your third team, all those things matter because you want to make sure that you make the most of this opportunity as well. And so then, with Teron bringing up, it is year 11. How do you still feel confident in your ability? His IQ plus the way he's training. So a big deal there for DeAndre Hopkins and the Titans. But Jack, let's go ahead and get deeper into that conversation you were talking about, because DeAndre Hopkins was asked, why is he so confident in the Titans offense? Because the first thing he said was competitive roster. So circling back to, competitive roster. Well, what about this Titans offense? And so we'll get to why DeAndre Hopkins is confident in the Titans offense. But first, let me tell you guys about the Aura app. Aura is keeping you safe online. They keep me safe online because I signed up with Aura back 3 months ago in April. And Aura, it's so easy to sign up. It took 2 or 3 minutes to do that. And then all I have to do is nothing, because Aura sends me notifications if a password leaks. If something else happens with a credit card charge, that might be a little iffy there. Aura keeps me safe, and they've rid my life of spammers, robocallers, telemarketers, because Aura identifies data brokers that have your information and automatically submits opt-out requests on your behalf. And they rid that information from the data brokers who pepper you across your devices with things that you didn't ask for, sign up for, or want. And so Aura had 30 data brokers that have my information, and they got rid of those within 5 or 6 days. So you can use our link, aura.com/ATOZ, to get a 2-week free trial with aura.com. That's aura.com/ATOZ for a 2-week free trial to get rid of those data brokers in your life. So check it out on that link, aura.com/A-to-Z.
If you think that's a good deal, BetMGM's got another one for you. BetMGM has a new promotion going around, their Refer a Friend invitation, and it just got so much bigger. Current users can log into BetMGM and go to the Refer a Friend invitation. You can get up to $2,000 in bonus bets because every time a friend signs up with BetMGM, they get $100 and you get $100 in bonus bets. You can invite up to 20 friends, which gets you to that 2,000 number in bonus bets. It's an awesome deal just in time for the football season. So don't miss out on this incredible promotion from BetMGM.
All right, so DeAndre Hopkins was asked, why is he so confident in the Titans offense? Because the Titans offense catches a lot of heat nationally about this, what they have offensively with their personnel. So quieting the haters, part 1 of this Wednesday show is the Titans offensive personnel.
On the outside, a lot of people will say this offense, specifically the offense, doesn't look competitive. What makes you confident that this is an offense that could play at a high level?
I remember watching last year's game when Josh Dobbs came in and they almost won the game. So, that right there, woke my eyes up to, how these guys play and the pace they play at and how competitive they can be, with the right people on the team. And, I'm pretty sure you guys seen the same game that I seen. They were in a lot of games. And before a lot of people got hurt, I've always kept up with Vrabel and the Titans. And Derrick Henry's one of my friends, so I try to watch all the games that he's played. So I think last year when Josh came in and those guys were very close to, still winning, that right there kind of woke my eyes up to see that they're only a couple pieces away from where they want to be.
What's your relationship? So you mentioned the Josh Dobbs thing. D-Hop was paying attention there, and how competitive and how aggressive the Titans play, and how the pace of play that D-Hop mentioned a few times throughout that press conference. I think that is the urgency the Titans play with. That's the fight the Titans play with under Mike Vrabel. And the fact that, they were in a lot of games. They lost 7 in a row, and nobody's making excuses for that. But I think everybody who watches our show that knows about this Titans and knows what the story of last season was understands that. And Jack, I know we talked about this somewhat recently, and you've talked about this on the Titan Up podcast, that the Titans had the lead to win the AFC South with Josh Dobbs in his second week in the building, employed by the Titans. They had the lead with 2 minutes to go in the game. And all they had to do was not turn the ball over and force the Jags to kick a tying field goal. And then, everything went wrong. You mentioned it. The review never really happened as in depth as we wanted it to. And the Titans did not make the playoffs. But so then he ended that comment, Jack, with they're just a few pieces away, because he saw that in that competitive loss, they're just a few pieces away, and Tannehill's back, and we'll talk about Tannehill later on. But yeah, I think, do you buy what Diop's saying, and that's why he's so confident in the Titans offense this year?
Yeah, so real quick, I saw Mr. Jones ask, where's the Tighten Up podcast? It's on the A to Z Sports Podcast Network, Apple, and Spotify. We had Zach Lyons on this week. You can go listen to that episode. It's out now. I absolutely buy it. And for D-Hop, who is entering his 11th season in the NFL, there's a sense of urgency, right? He's not going to be this good for that much longer. So he's looking for a team that also has a sense of urgency. A win, and before the draft really started, people were talking rebuild. And really before D-Hop came through, it was still kind of is this like a competitive rebuild? But now that D-Hop's here, it's clear that the Titans are focused on winning. And this sense of urgency is not just a D-Hop thing, right? Ryan Tannehill's on his last year of his contract. Derrick Henry also on the last year of his contract. Kevin Byard, he's around D-Hop's age. The same goes for him. Like, who knows how much elite football is left in KB? So the Titans know that the time, their time with all of these key cogs is running out. Like, they're not going to have this group together much longer. So there's a huge sense of urgency, a win now approach, and it's a team that has a chip on their shoulder heading into the season. Not just the Titans from what happened last year, and everybody's going to pile on because of the 7-game losing streak, but in reality, they were missing everybody. I said on the Tighten Up podcast this week, I think the Titans win that division if they have one of these three players available in, down the stretch. And that was Harold Landry, Taylor Lewan, and I'm forgetting who I put as my third. But, and Ryan Tannehill. If they had one of those guys in that Week 18 game, I think that they pull through and win that ball game. So there's a huge sense of urgency in Tennessee. I absolutely buy what D-Hop's saying. I think that he's bought in, which is a really tough part for incoming free agents. But, Vrabel is pretty picky after being burned by some of these guys like Vic Beasley and Clowney. I think D-Hop's mental aspect is flying under the radar just a bit because of how determined and motivated he is for, one of his last truly, elite seasons here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think the Titans probably win that game with one of those three players. And you're talking about a left tackle, an edge rusher, and a quarterback. I think it just takes, maybe one. I mean, the Harold Landry thing I could maybe argue on another day because the Titans defense played really well.
True.
And the Jags defense is the one that won the game, not the Jags offense with that. So Lewan would have been there and maybe not have allowed the sack fumble on Dobbs that turned into a touchdown to win. So, I think you have a good point there. But yeah, the Titans, and I saw somebody comment this, and forgive me if I'm not going to be able to scroll up fast enough to find the comment. But when D-Hop says competitive roster, I don't think he was. Oh, here it is. Sean Gill. Our guy Sean Gill on YouTube says, I don't think he meant competitive in the sense of having a lot of good players fighting for the ball. But that regardless of who's playing, they'll be in the game with a chance. And I think that is absolutely true, that outside of a select few, at Buffalo week 2 on Monday Night Football, there's a couple other small circumstances where Mike Vrabel's Titans teams got blown out and had no chance to win that game. The Titans have been right there with an opportunity to win a lot of their games, a high percentage of their games with Mike Vrabel as a head coach for the last 5 years.
And the Malik Willis game in Kansas City, where that blown call in the end zone on Travis Kelce kept the Titans from winning that game. I mean, Vrabel's teams have a way of beating teams that are more talented than them, and we saw that 2 seasons ago. We didn't see that at all last year. But for the most part, the Titans play up to their competition. They can hang with anybody in the league just because of that physical style that they play and this elite defense that covers the offense's tracks when it's a slower day throwing the football. So, Yeah, there's a lot to like about the culture that Vrabel has. I think that was a big part in why D-Hop came. And there's not going to be a game on the schedule where if the Titans are fully healthy, you say, "Oh, we're going to get killed today." That's just not how this team operates.
Yeah, for sure. A to Z Sports here live on this Wednesday. Joey says Titans lost 7 in a row. Really play up to that competition.
Everybody was hurt.
And like, again, I'm not trying to make excuses. We're not trying to go back in the vault and dig up the skeletons from last year's season, but we know there was a lot of problems, and the whole goal for Rand, look, the GM was fired for it, right? We know the problem in Rand's task was to fix a lot of those problems with the offensive line, the passing game, the quarterback of the future, and clean up the salary cap at the same time. And it feels like, and Jack, you said this last week, I believe. You said something about like if DeAndre Hopkins is not signed, Rand Carthon's offseason was a failure. But if he is signed, then it's a complete success because they check all the boxes. And I'm paraphrasing your quote there, but I mean, that's pretty spot on to what you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the moves he made in free agency were really kind of underwhelming. I understand the value that you're getting with Arden Key, a guy who I believe still holds LSU's single season sack record. And then Azeez Al-Shaair, who played behind two of the best linebackers that the NFL has to offer. And, he could start on 31 other teams. They bring him in. I liked the moves that he made in the offseason, but there wasn't that splash, right? And you don't get a quarterback in the first round. That's fine. You go offensive lineman. You need that. That patches up a hole that you have, one of a handful. And, the Levis pick, it didn't, while it was nice that they went to the quarterback route because I believe they needed one after seeing what Malik Willis did last year. And, who knows? He could take a huge leap forward. But Carthon didn't have that big splash. He didn't have that feather in his cap. And a lot of times when a GM takes over, they're going to make a big move to get a guy that they want and, set the narrative on their tenure as a GM early. I think D-Hop does that a bit. I know it's just a 2-year deal, but this just shows me that the Titans are still willing to compete for, a spot in the AFC playoffs. And
yeah,
I've said it on the Tighten Up podcast so many times. All you got to do is get a ticket into the dance, and who knows what happens after that.
Yep. A to Z Sports here live on this Wednesday. Our guy Chris Stress, who's been watching us for a long time, says, "Hey, first time got to see us live in a long time." But Chris, good to have you in here. I know, we're about to get really busy. Chris was a part of the one and only A to Z Fantasy Football League that we did back
also
before COVID.
Tighten Up Trivia.
That's right.
Tighten Up podcast.
Yeah. So, all right. So DeAndre Hopkins was asked very simply, what is your belief in Ryan Tannehill? And this is where we're going to go to next and hear from D-Hop about, again, quieting the Titans haters is the theme of the show. The first one was about the Titans offensive personnel, and that includes Ryan Tannehill. But now we're going to get deeper into diagnosing what D-Hop thinks about the Titans quarterback. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute, they can help you out whenever an injury happens in life. You need to go to the Bone and Joint Institute because they are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And the region is all of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky and Northern Alabama, because there's nowhere else in that area that does it as great or as good or as comprehensive as the Bone and Joint Institute. And they make it easy because they've got specialists all across the board that can deal with any type of injury. I've seen 3, I think, doctors at the Bone and Joint Institute over my adulthood. My guy, Dr. Scott Arthur, as well. He helped me out with my knee injury. I've talked about Dr. Jeff Watson quite a bit as well with my foot. And they make it easy because you go to boneandjointtn.org and you tell them, hey, I want to make an appointment. You click that button. You say, my foot's hurting. And you type that in and it sorts the foot specialist there that can help you out with those injuries. You find a date that fits for you and your schedule, and it brings up their calendar right there. It's so easy. And they do it all right there in Franklin, Tennessee. So check them out. It's injury season as football starts up, youth football, high school football, intramural flag football. Everybody gets hurt playing football, right? So make sure you know the Bone and Joint Institute is there for you, boneandjointtn.org.
It is injury season, absolutely. It's also football season, which means you need to download BetMGM and take advantage of this fantastic offer that they're promoting. It's a refer a friend invitation over at BetMGM. It's a great new deal where current users can log into BetMGM, so make sure you have an account with BetMGM. You'll go to the refer a friend invitation, and you can send that up to 20 friends and collect up to $2,000 in bonus bets because every time a friend joins with BetMGM, they'll get $100 and you get $100 in bonus bets. Like I said, you can invite up to 20 friends, get to that $2,000 in bonus bets, and have a hell of a start to the football season. Start the season in the green at BetMGM.
All right, Jack. So let's get to it. DeAndre Hopkins asked, what about his belief in Ryan Tannehill? Here was the new Titans wide receiver.
Level of belief with Tannehill as the quarterback that he can lead this team and you to winning.
What do I believe?
Your level of belief that he can lead the team to winning.
1 out of 10, I think it's a 10.
What do you think of him as a quarterback?
I think he's a great quarterback.
What's been your key to sustained success over the 10 years, DeAndre? You got more catches than anyone in the league in the last 10 years.
Ooh, if I could, it's a lot, but I would say being on the same page with my quarterback. I can't go out and throw the ball to myself. Being patient, not having the ego, putting in the extra work. As much as people say, I don't practice. I don't think you can have those kind of numbers without practicing. So it's doing not just, the things you guys see, but also, like I said, outside of the football field, being on the same page and being reliable.
To quote Tom Brady's ex, Giselle, he can't throw and catch it. So DeAndre Hopkins also can't do it all without himself. So without the quarterback help. So what's your belief in Ryan Tannehill? He said 10 out of 10. I mean, that's strong comment there, and we'll get the chat here involved in a second. But I think it is interesting, Jack, before I kind of let you expand on this, is that it's off the field stuff, right? Because Ryan Tannehill, in his time as a Titans starter, has a better regular season connection, and they put up better numbers with receivers that he has time to work with in the offseason and in training camp. And it takes more time for Tannehill to connect with somebody when they don't have that time together. And I immediately think of, the 2019 year. It took Ryan Tannehill and Corey Davis a couple months to get going together, but Tannehill immediately had a connection with A.J. Brown and Anthony Firkser because that's who he was working with as a second-team offense behind Marcus Mariota. So what do you think about Tannehill, or the comment about Tannehill, the belief in Tannehill, and then you have the whole, you got to do stuff off the field and be on the same page with the quarterback?
I mean, watch D-Hop in that answer. He didn't blink one time when he said 1 out of 10, he's a 10. He's a great quarterback. Didn't blink once. Very stern, very serious, and I can't blame him because, if D-Hop was in it for the money, he would have no reason to show up for the first day of training camp, right? He could have just signed on the dotted line whenever he wanted to. The Titans need a receiver. He could have played them like a fiddle for as long as he wanted in order to drive up that price. But he's going to get in. He's going to be ready for training camp, ready to, start a rapport with his new quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. He's already, got some familiarity in Tim Kelly's system. He's got Charles London as a guy he's worked with before. All these guys are going to help make the transition for D-Hop so much easier. And when it comes to the Tannehill thing, all he's done as a starting quarterback in Tennessee is win. He's 36-19 as a starter. And there are 3 throws in Ryan Tannehill's Titans tenure that he would like to have back. And they all came in that Bengals loss. I think those 3 throws have turned everybody against the guy who has an incredible winning percentage. He's got the tied for the 4th best quarterback rating in the NFL since 2019. Since he came to the Titans, he ranks tied for 4th with a 100.5 quarterback rating in the NFL. I mean, that is incredible. Those guys do not grow on trees. And while Tannehill's not supremely talented, like we see with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, all these guys, Joe Burrow, that have gotten or are about to get monster deals, Tannehill's a winner, and he's a product of the guys you surround him with. Mm-hmm. Last year, he wasn't surrounded with anybody besides Derrick Henry, and defenses got to just stack the box, put 8 in there, sell out with the run, and let Treylon Burks or NWI beat you down the field. They're going to have to change that approach this year with D-Hop standing outside along the sidelines and really pick their poison. So, I don't know. Let's go to the chat. Let's find some answers from the chat, 1 to 10.
we'll get to the 1 to 10s because there are just straight up hate that people have for Ryan Tannehill. I'm just going to read some comments before we get to the 1 to 10s. Kenny says, I feel like Tannehill can get the Titans to the playoffs, but after that, who knows which Tannehill will show up. I see somebody saying that, where'd that comment go? Somebody was like, oh, the Titans drafted a bust and now they're starting one too, calling Ryan Tannehill a bust, which I think is just idiotic and somebody that doesn't necessarily know what the hell is going on.
The Titans got Tannehill for free, essentially. I mean, how are you framing a 36-19 starter as a bust?
Yeah.
That's
especially,
dumb.
and this is a different conversation for a different day. The fact that Ryan Tannehill's contract looks so much better today than it, and after the several big signings that have happened over this offseason, including Justin Herbert yesterday. Joey asked, what has he won? Just wondering. Look, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's won a lot of games. He's won 2 AFC South titles. He's won a couple playoff games, and he's gotten the 1 seed in the AFC. Look, is it a Super Bowl? No, but how many quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl since Ryan Tannehill has been the Titans starting quarterback?
3, maybe 2.
I think it's 3 because it's Mahomes twice, Tom freaking Brady, and then Matt Stafford.
True.
So 3 quarterbacks have won and Tom Brady, is elite, just like, Patrick Mahomes level elite of winning Super Bowls. So like, I think how many quarterbacks have not won a Super Bowl as well, right? So it's, Ryan Tannehill's done a lot of winning and everybody's going to hate on him, but I think that's a lot of, there's a lot of unfair hate on Ryan Tannehill. I think a lot of it has to do with the Miami situation. And then, look, the playoff game against Cincinnati is always going to haunt him until he overcomes it. And he got hurt last year, which was not his fault. He got hurt because the offensive line was saloon doors and he got hurt and couldn't play and couldn't move. So, all right, Jack, now, and then I'm with MB. What has Justin Herbert done? Like Marcus Mariota did more than Justin Herbert on his rookie contract. And Justin Herbert is now the highest paid quarterback. Now he's next in line and Joe Burrow is going to beat him and be the highest paid quarterback in probably like a week and a half. But, Marcus Mariota won a playoff game. Justin Herbert has blown a playoff game to Trevor Lawrence after having a 4 touchdown lead in the first half. So, and Teal Real says, this is the guy that was calling Tannehill a bust. He goes, buddy, Tannehill was drafted 8th in 2012 and made the playoffs once in 7 years. Yeah, but again, that's the Dolphins, right? Like that's Adam Gase head coach tenure, which look, that's not Ryan Tannehill's fault completely.
He managed to spend 6 or 7, I forget the exact number, 6 or 7 years with the Dolphins, yet he still has a winning record as a starting quarterback in the NFL. How can you be a bust with like, I don't know his exact record, but how can you be a bust with at the age of 34 with a winning record as a starting quarterback in the NFL? Like, how many quarterbacks have been drafted since then that either are already out of the league or don't have a winning record? That is the vast majority of these quarterbacks. Tannehill, sure. Look, I understand it's a tale of 2 Tannehills: the regular season Tannehill and the postseason Tannehill. Postseason Tannehill, he's going to need some redemption at some point, but I mean, they don't make a lot of quarterbacks that can go 36-19 with the 4th best quarterback rating since he arrived in Tennessee when there are so many talented quarterbacks in the NFL. So I'll head to the chat. I'll grab some of y'all's answers. Scale of 1 to 10. What is your confidence level in Ryan Tannehill? Steven checks in with an 8. T-Real says 2. Titan Fox says 8. Let's see. Chandler says 8. Jay says 5. Rooney says 10. Look at the numbers. Take that for data, Rooney. Roger Wilson says 8.5. Jason Brown, 8. Tighten up, 5. Confidence level, negative. I believe this would be like 100 gazillion. Okay. Matt Stotler says 8. Mike Withrow says 7. John says 9. Joey says 3. 7.5 from Grim Jim. Pistol says 8. more than half of these are above a 5.
Yeah, Dr. Lips, lip, whatever you want to do that, says 6. He's too old and slow. Ryan Tannehill's not slow. Like, what the hell? What are people watching?
I pulled up the numbers, and you can check them out on my Twitter at Jack A. Gentry. In a comparison with Kyler Murray, you would think that Kyler Murray would have a boatload more, tons more rushing touchdowns than Ryan Tannehill does since coming into the league, right?
Yeah.
Well, since 2019, Kyler Murray has 23 rushing touchdowns, considered one of the most agile and fast, quick, whatever you want to call it, quarterbacks that the NFL has. Ryan Tannehill has 3 less rushing touchdowns in that span. He's got 20 rushing touchdowns since 2019. That number blew me out of the water. I was actually surprised. So, yeah. Tannehill, he looked slow last year, but that's because he was playing on 2 sprained ankles.
Yes, and like sprained multiple times. All right, so Jack, I'm going to have you get to your answer here in a second. So the question we've asked everybody in the chat, Jack was reading some comments. What is your confidence level in Ryan Tannehill leading a winning team on a 1 through 10 scale? We're going to play the DeAndre Hopkins audio video again after this, but asking Jack and I for our answers. Confidence in Ryan Tannehill leading a winning team on a 1 through 10. But first, let me tell you guys about Krebs Kubota, or my confidence is through the roof when it comes with Krebs Kubota, because they make it happen for everybody who's looking for the top level equipment in the industry for whatever project you have going around with your home, at your property. Krebs Kubota can make it happen for you because they are an elite Kubota dealer, which means you get access to top of the line industry equipment and also elite warranties, because the Kubota line is the best when it comes to the machinery, but also the best when it comes to protecting the warranties and that machinery. So an elite Kubota dealer is the way to go, and you need to go with Krebs, because Krebs Kubota, with over 18 years of serving Middle Tennessee in those 3 locations in Franklin, Columbia, and in Murfreesboro, they prioritize customer service over everything. So when you have a relationship with them, you're going to get what you need when you need it, on time, to help you out, and the expertise to educate you on exactly what you've got going on with your property. So check them out online at KrebsKubota.com.
Football season is upon us. I personally made a bet yesterday on BetMGM. Vanderbilt over 3.5 wins for the 2023 season. It's easy money. It's going to happen within the first 4 weeks of the season, I promise. But if you want to take advantage of some of the great offerings that BetMGM has, you got to do this one. It's a refer a friend invitation, and it just got so much bigger over at BetMGM. Current users, if you have a BetMGM account, log into that account, go to the refer a friend invitation, and you can get up to $2,000 in bonus bets, because every time a friend signs up with BetMGM, they get $100 and you get $100 in bonus bets. You can invite up to 20 friends and pocket that $2,000 in bonus bets and spend it however you'd like. Bet on whatever you'd like. Maybe you want to bet on the Vandy win total and win some money with me. Maybe you want to bet on the Titans or Derrick Henry's rushing touchdown number at 9.5. There's a lot of great bets out there on BetMGM. It's easy to navigate, easy to understand. So go make sure you take advantage of this offer and refer your friends to BetMGM.
Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. New and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and other requirements. Rewards issued knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem game of sport, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Jack, I'm going to play the video one more time because D-Hop's belief in Ryan Tannehill, and then you and I are going to answer the question, what is your confidence level in Ryan Tannehill to lead a winning team? Because I think leading a winning team 1 through 10, that is the question. But here is, once again, DeAndre Hopkins on 17.
What's your level of belief with Tannehill as the quarterback that he can lead this team and you to winning?
What do I believe?
Your level of belief that he can lead the team to winning.
1 out of 10, I think it's a 10.
What do you think of him as a quarterback?
I think he's a great quarterback.
What's been your...
So he's a great quarterback. He's a 10 out of 10 in that belief. So, Jack, what is your confidence level in Ryan Tannehill leading a winning Titans team this season?
First, I want to establish what a winning team means to me. Now,
Fair.
a lot of people would say that, with a 17-game schedule, 9-8 is quantified. You label that as a winning team. Not to me. A winning team means making the playoffs. And that's something that Ryan Tannehill has done every single season besides the one in which he got hurt last season, and the Titans still almost crawled to the playoffs. there's no reason to believe that Ryan Tannehill can't lead the Titans to the playoffs yet again, whether that's to the AFC South, which is probably the most likely route, or getting one of those 2 wild card spots. So my confidence that Tannehill can do this thing is an 8.5. I believe that the Titans have an 85% chance to make the postseason this year. I think that the division is still gettable. That gap between the Titans and the Jags is not as big as most people think. At least most people outside of Nashville think. So 36-19 as a starter. You've heard the numbers. Ryan Tannehill has taken the Titans to the playoffs. He's taken them to the AFC Championship game in 2019. He locked up the 1 seed and got the divisional round spot where he threw 3 picks against the Bengals. Like he's taken them to the playoffs and he's taken them past the wild card round, whether that's for his regular season work or winning in the playoffs like he did in 2019. Tannehill can absolutely lead this team back to the playoffs and maybe even win a game in the playoffs with a weapon like D-Hop. I know that in today's social media world, it's easy to become a prisoner of the moment and easy to believe that last year is something that will happen over, at least again. Whereas the overwhelming majority of Tannehill's days in Tennessee have been winning days. I think that a lot of Titans fans are falling victim to the 7-game losing streak, to watching the Titans stink without Tannehill, without A.J. Brown, without a legitimate threat outside. Now you bring D-Hop back into the equation. You've got a Chig in his second year, a Treylon Burks who's hopefully going to have a full training camp and emerge as that guy that the Titans had drafted him to be. And even Kyle Phillips returns from injury. And you've got NWI down there as well who can chip in whenever he needs to. Tannehill's got weapons this year. Derrick Henry's still Derrick Henry. The Titans' defense is the Titans' defense. I believe that Tannehill, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm putting it at 8.5 that he can take the Titans back to the playoffs.
So you said 8.5, 85% chance you think the Titans can go to the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill. I mean, if I'm going to play by your parameters of what a winning team means, I'm going to agree with you. And so with those rules, so I think I'm going to go down to a 7.5.
Okay.
I'm at a 7.5. It's still very high. And I think Ryan Tannehill, I think if you ask this nationally, like what would the national cumulative confidence level be in Ryan Tannehill? It's probably like a 4. Wouldn't you think? Nationally?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be below a 5. A lot of people have counted the Titans out like they do every single season. But, I mean, yeah, from a national media's perspective, it would definitely be at least a 4. I mean, it could even be dipping down into the 3s.
Mm-hmm. So, Pizzle Ramsey says, come on, Austin, you might as well be at an 8. No, I'm going to go 7.5. Like, I'm not, if Jackson 8.5, you're not saying he might as well be a 9. I think that's what we like using the decimal system at times, is because 7 feels too low and 8 feels a little high for me. So I'm going to go a 7.5. I think the Tennessee Titans with DeAndre Hopkins, there are no excuses. Like outside of the obvious injuries that, fits for every NFL team. Injuries can ruin any season. But I think the Tennessee Titans with Ryan Tannehill healthy, they have a chance to win every game on their schedule. And we've been over this, Jack. Like the schedule, it's not a first place division winning schedule like it has in the past.
God.
After weeks 1 through 6, it's a pretty solid AFC gauntlet there. I mean, you got the newly highest paid player in the NFL in Justin Herbert in week 2, with the Browns and Deshaun Watson in year 2 and week 3, the Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who will be the highest paid player in a week and a half in week 4. And then you have to win that game at Indianapolis before you go to London and play the 3rd highest paid player in the NFL in Lamar Jackson. And then you got a bye week to kind of take a deep breath and reset. That first 6 games, I think week 1's that much more important because of the 5 AFC games after that. But the Tennessee Titans should absolutely be in a position to fight for a playoff spot and to win the AFC South with Ryan Tannehill and the offensive line that's been reset. Obviously, Nicholas Petit-Frere is going to not be there for the first 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens with the George Fant workouts in that situation. But yeah, I think the Titans should be able to fight through the suspension. Like NPF's a good player. NBF can be a good player. He's still a second-year guy. It's not like they lost, a Pro Bowl player for 6 weeks. Like NPF right now is still somewhat of a replacement level player.
Yeah.
He was just one that you felt good about that you didn't have to worry, right?
He was just like the only guy coming back that was
Yeah.
going to play the same position he did last year on that offensive line. But yeah, I mean, it's a great season to get the NFC South as well, where Derek Carr with the Saints is the best quarterback in that entire division, where he was probably number 4 in the AFC West, which the Titans have had to deal with quite a lot.
Yeah, depending on what Russell Wilson you got, but yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I like that you went 7.5. I think there's much more evidence that Tannehill can lead a winning team and can lead a team to the playoffs than there is against it, especially with the body of work that he's put together in Tennessee. Durability has been fine up until last year. He snapped Steve McNair's record for starts, consecutive starts by a quarterback with the Titans. So he checks all the boxes. It's just getting him the proper help. And last year he didn't have the proper help. This year, there's a lot to be excited about. I really do think that Chig and Treylon Burks are going to exceed even what Titans fans believe that they can be, because I know everybody's, with D-Hop on the roster saying, okay, D-Hop's going to carry the load. But Chig was a big play guy. He had 3 catches over 40 yards last year. Treylon Burks can be that deep threat. Ryan Tannehill at his best is cooking in play action.
Yeah.
With Derrick Henry back there and with viable threats on the outside to make plays down the field, we can get back to the old Tannehill this season, where he takes care of the football and makes big plays down the field while mixing in Derrick Henry throughout drives. So yeah. I'm a believer. I'm still confident. And it's his last year under contract. He's got a lot to prove. He knows that.
Yes.
He's not going to be unemployed next season, but I do think that lights a little extra fire under it.
I think what you just said right there, the old Tannehill coming back and also Tannehill having a lot to prove. I think we heard DeAndre Hopkins say something else about that too. And I want to play that video here in a second too about what Ryan Tannehill knows what the season is. And I think it was evident in one of DeAndre Hopkins' comments yesterday at his press conference. With Farm Bureau Health Plans, they can help you out with your health coverage as well, with health, dental, vision, whatever it might be with your health coverage situation. Farm Bureau Health Plans can either take over the entire coverage for you or fill in the gaps that you might have from your employer's plan that might not have the best dental or vision options. Farm Bureau Health Plans can do all of that for you. They've been doing it for over 75 years across the state of Tennessee and helping Tennesseans stay safe, stay covered, and have great rates and great coverage. Zach Bingham joined Farm Bureau Health Plans a year and a half ago, saved 20% every month and get great coverage, better coverage than he had when he was paying more money. So that's the best of both worlds. Have your cake, eat it too with Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can walk into one of the 200 plus locations across the state or check them out online. Very easy online at fbhp.com/ATOZ.
BetMGM, if you're a current user, they've got a great offer going for you. It's my last time to talk about it this show, so I want to make sure I hammer it home and make sure that you current users are doing your due diligence and getting all of the money that you can possibly get with BetMGM. They've got a Refer a Friend invitation program where current users can log into BetMGM and go to the Refer a Friend invitation tab. You can get up to $2,000 in bonus bets because every time one of your friends signs up with BetMGM, they'll get $100 and you get $100 in bonus bets. You can invite up to 20 friends, take that total all the way up to $2,000 in bonus bets just in time for football season. Don't let this offer pass you by. Capitalize over at BetMGM before football season really gets going.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Wednesday. Jason, I did take care of the Teal Reel spamming on the YouTube chat, so he is gone. And so real quick, Jonathan asked, Austin, is Sam going to have those play-by-plays on Twitter today? I'm not exactly sure what today's media rules will be for the first training camp practice, but I do know we will have tons of content out there for Titans training camp practice. I'll be out there later this morning as well as they start practice at 9:30 Central Time, so just about 30 minutes from now. But last thing on Ryan Tannehill, because DeAndre Hopkins said it, Ryan Tannehill knows exactly how important this season is for him, he himself.
So many quarterbacks in your career. What has been the key for you in being able to develop that relationship with them that you need to have to be productive?
Off the field, not just on the field. Speaking to those guys, hanging out with them, doing the little things. I played with, a lot of quarterbacks, and that's one thing that I realized that helps, extra communication, doing the little things that you don't see on the practice field, and going over things in the film room, trying to be perfect. All quarterbacks are different, but at the same time, they're very similar. So, just trying to find certain things that they like and being on the same page with them.
What was your visit with Ryan like in that regard when you came in, and how much are you looking forward to working with him?
Ryan came, him and his wife, they came and met me and ran when we were out. So that said a lot about him right there. Just wanting to come in and talk to me, hang out with me. We kicked it off right away.
They kicked it off right away. So Ryan Tannehill and his wife Lauren, they go to see D-Hop. They know what this recruitment was all about, and it paid off. There's a lot of reasons why DeAndre Hopkins picked the Titans over the Patriots and maybe even the Chiefs because of the money for the Chiefs. But the Titans truly went all in. And I saw Rand Carthon had a comment just a few minutes ago about this was a month-long date with the Titans and DeAndre Hopkins, because that's what it takes when they're trying to court somebody to get them to sign that paper. It worked out at the end of the day because Ryan Tannehill's involved as well.
And everybody is all in. Like Ryan Tannehill's all in. D-Hop's clearly all in. Derrick Henry's all in. Kevin Byard took the cut. He's all in. We saw how much pain that missing out on the playoffs cost Jeffrey Simmons last year in the locker room following that Jags game. He's got to be all in. It's good to have everybody on the same page this early, but now's the time to really hammer down the details and get on the same page timing-wise so you can hit the ground running. That week 1 game on the road in New Orleans is not going to be an easy place to play, but it's a winnable football game. The Titans have to make sure that they are prepared in every way possible to walk out of New Orleans with a W.
Billy Jones says Tannehill is a really good guy. And then I see Jonathan says Tannehill seems like a great human, not just a great quarterback. And great quarterback, debatable, great human. I think that checks out. Mr. Jones, Jack, has a comment. It sounds so good. This tweet, Jack, you can take this tweet and this comment from Mr. Jones and tweet it because it'll do well. It makes me cringe though, but it'll do well. D-Hop didn't want to go to a Super Bowl contender. He wanted to create one. Oh man. Like that is like PR marketing brilliance there from Mr. Jones, who doesn't have a lot of victories on this show in the comment section, but I do like it. It's very cliche, jokey, cringy, but yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to create a Super Bowl contender, but DeAndre Hopkins, I think, knows how big his impact can be for this team.
If D-Hop signed in that first wave of free agency, and he wasn't cut by then, so it was impossible. But if he was, he could have had a big-time impact on recruiting of other free agents, which I believe he will have next offseason when the Titans probably need it most. With some roster churning going on next offseason, I think that D-Hop's star power is enough to sway some superstars across the league who may be hitting the free agent market into coming down to Tennessee. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, Jack, I got 5 minutes before I got to head to Titans practice here on the show, but it is now time to throw shade. We always throw shade on Wednesday. So, Jack, I know your shade. Titans fans are going to love it because it goes against one of those division rivals. So, throwing shade time here every Wednesday.
Is it time for my shade?
Yeah, presented by Wilson County Hyundai here live on this Wednesday, throwing shade. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Make them part of your new car buying process. Go see our friend Paidbone in Lebanon or check them out at WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So throwing shade here on the show. We'll let more of y'all's shade come into the chat. But Jack, your shade, I think, is an automatic win for everybody watching the show here.
Yeah, we got into it a little bit yesterday on the Tighten Up podcast with Football and Other F Words host Zach Lyons. He made some great points, and I'm going to steal some of his thunder today. But I want to throw some shade at everybody across the league who is saying that the Titans have no right to wear the Oilers uniforms. That is absolutely absurd to me. We've seen the away fans' attendance in Nissan Stadium over the last few years. They've had a chance to see all those famous Oilers up in the Ring of Honor at the top of Nissan Stadium. The Titans have embraced the Oilers culture for forever. I mean, it was Billy White Shoes Johnson and the guys coming in last year before the Colts game. they do this every single season, and I think the Adams family has done such a great job over the years in making sure that what happened in Houston with the Oilers, and I guess in Tennessee where they were the Oilers for 2 full seasons, is not forgotten. So those people criticizing the Titans using the Oilers uniforms, the throwbacks, haven't been paying attention and are not real football fans. And, just to drive the point home even further, Houston had an opportunity to create new history with, an exciting team name down there and, an exciting rebrand after the Oilers up and left them. And they come out with the Houston Texans. That would be Zach Line. I'm going to repeat Zach Line's joke. That would be like the Titans being named the Nashville Tennesseans. I mean, what a horrible name for a franchise. They essentially ripped off the Titans jerseys and their colors in itself. Like, if anybody's doing the copying, it feels like Texans is copying the Titans. But at the end of the day, those people who are pissed about the Oilers uniforms being worn by the Titans are just a bunch of casuals who deserve to be on the sidewalk watching football games.
It makes no sense to me because, like, I get the fact that Houstonians have an emotional attachment to the Houston Oilers. I get it. Like, that generations of since the 1960s to go through it. I get all that. But and the fans are not the ones to blame for why the city and the Adams family had the breakup and they moved the team out of the city. But I also think it's just weird that it's kind of like if you have here's my analogy is that the Titans are a family-owned business, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a family-owned company leaves the building they were in this community, they might have done great community service. They might have had a great charity work. But if the family leaves that community and they go somewhere else and move states, you move on. Like, you miss them, but you move on. You don't have the same building and keep the family photos inside the building for the next tenant. That's just creepy. That's weird. So that's what the Titans are. The Titans moved. They left their house in Houston, and the Texans destroyed the house, rebuilt the house, but still want to have the Titans family photos on the walls. Like, that's just creepy. It's not yours. It's that now you might have loved them. You might miss them, but that's okay. But it ain't yours. They moved on. So you need to move on too. And you got somebody else who's doing the community work and having that business in town too.
And even in the Oilers' heyday, like, they would not fill up that stadium. When they were there, they weren't loved as much as they should have. And I want to end with Jay's comment to one of my points is the Oilers fans would still be Titans fans if they were real Oilers fans, right? It's the same franchise.
Yeah.
If you were all in on the Oilers, you're probably on the Titans bandwagon.
Exactly. My shade is going to be this real teal guy who came in here and was spamming the show. I banned him on YouTube. And then all of a sudden, like 3 other accounts come in and start having the same comments spamming. So I've banned them too. So whatever you guys have to do with your life and you're just spending your Wednesday morning trying to spam us, and I don't think you're the winner and thinking you won, but I think appreciate your time and your attention. But yeah, that's my shade is, weird opposing fans thinking that they can puff their chest out and bang their chest for spamming a show for a different team.
Weirdo behavior.
Yeah.
Weirdo behavior. And we would expect nothing less from Texans and Jags fans. So
yeah. Well, and thanks for the views. Thanks for the ad revenue. How about that? We're the winners. You're the loser who's creating burner accounts on YouTube to come play our ads to give us money. Thanks. Appreciate it. That's where we're going to wrap this up. Hey, tons of content. Seriously, tons of content for you guys for Titans practice. Training camp starts in 20 minutes. I got to go, but we're going to have a great content up there on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. So make sure you like the show. You also subscribe to this channel for all of our Titans presser content and training camp content. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Thursday. Appreciate it as always.